All right, Leo, thanks for tuning in to your July 2014 horoscope. My name is Athen, and I'm going to do this a little bit differently this month, see how it goes. I'm going to divide it up into 4 parts. First, yourself this month, your work this month, your relationships, and spirituality. So those are associated with the elements, so fire, earth, wind, and water. So let's start with the self, and this is your first house, and your ruler, the sun, is in your 11th up until the 16th. So for the first half of this month, certainly about uniting yourself with others, being a part of groups, doing things that help you be more inspirational to others and inspirational to yourself, doing the things that that help and contribute to society selflessly. Okay, and this is the frequency of your higher self. So it's really about embodying that higher self of yours and doing things because you want to give. Okay, this is particularly up until the 16th. Then when the sun goes into your 12th, things are going to take on a much more spiritual nature. Okay, this will be the case through August as well. So tapping into your presence, taking time out, taking time to reflect, listening to your dreams, developing your intuition, connecting to your heart, okay? Whatever it is that helps you connect to all that is, to the flow of life and the surrendering void, surrendering process, the better, second half of the month. And all of this you will find very energizing. So first half, certainly get involved with those groups, those collective ideals, and then second half, do the spiritual work. And in both cases, I think you'll find that very illuminating for you. Now, let's talk about your self-expression this month, associated with your 5th house. Jupiter rules your 5th, and he is in your 12th. So again, we're talking about spirituality here. Jupiter recently went into your 12th, okay? So you are expressing through your spiritual nature, okay? And it's also about letting go of yourself, okay? Letting go of your self-expression, just allowing things to be the way they are, okay? Not taking yourself too seriously, not focusing too much in an analytical sense on what you're about. It's just about going with the flow, taking it one step at a time, being present and connecting to your heart. Okay, all of this is going to help you embody your true self this month and help you express yourself as well. And through that, I think you'll have a lot to say about your spiritual nature as well. So do keep that in mind. Now let's talk about your higher self associated with the 9th house and your higher guidance. Mars rules your 9th house, and he's transiting your 2nd this month up until the 13th. So first half of the month, enjoy your connection to your higher guidance. Perhaps get into some philosophy, perhaps do some reading, some wisdom, expand your mind, expand your body, okay? And through this, I think you're going to find it very enjoyable. And I think you'll be attracting a lot of things to you as well. Also, this has to do with, spiritual teaching and stuff. So for those of you who are expressing your spiritual nature this month, or the things you have to say in regards to your spirituality, and universal love and those sorts of things, I think you're going to be attracting a lot to you, okay? And it's a lot of stuff that I think is going to be very motivating for you as well. And I think you might be motivated to do that as well, particularly up until the 13th. Now from the 13th onward, Mars will then go into your 3rd house. So communicating, teaching, writing your higher guidance, this wisdom that perhaps you're learning about through all of the spiritual investigative work, the spiritual work that you're doing, you'll then be much more open and sharing with it the second half of the month. So be sure to do that. Be open, share, okay? You need to tap into some courage to do so, do it. But all of this stuff that you're doing and behind the scenes will certainly have a lot to contribute to others particularly from the 13th and into August. So now let's talk about your work this month. Let's start with your second house of resources. Mercury rules that second house. Mercury has been retrograde back in June, and Mercury will be going direct, and this is all happening in your 11th house. Okay, so I think you've been reflecting, or at least you should have been reflecting on, generally speaking, what you have to contribute. Okay, what you have to offer. All right. And what you have to, it's also about receiving too, what you have to give, and then how you can receive more abundance from that. Okay, second house is about abundance, and being in that 11th house, it's about realizing the two-way relationship, that what you have to contribute is also abundant for you as well. So this reflection in regards to that will really be active this month when Mercury goes direct on the 1st. And up until the 28th, the highlight will certainly be on whatever it is you're deciding to do, to be of service, to help, to contribute. You're going to find all of that bringing a lot of abundance, or potentially more abundance, your way. Okay? And at the very least, understanding your values in regards to all that. What do you value in regards to the earth and humanity and the globe and all these sorts of things? Okay? And putting it into action. Certainly about action in July, June, a little bit more of the reflective type stuff. Now on the 28th, Mercury will go into your 12th house. So at that point and into August, realizing the tremendous amount of resources that you gain just by letting go. Okay, so all of this spiritual work that you're doing this month, towards the end of it, really just let go of the resources, and let your values go into the sea of life. And then through that letting go, I think you will find your values and the abundance coming your way in some form or another. Now let's talk about your 6th house in regards to your work. This is your day-to-day activities, and it's ruled by Saturn. Saturn has been transiting your 3rd house. Okay, so your work has been about teaching and sharing and communicating. Okay, or at least bringing more of that into your work and understanding all of that and how you work. And it's been very reflective while Saturn's been retrograde, and on the 20th, Saturn will go direct. So continue to reflect on your communication in your work, okay? And then on the 20th onward, all this that you're learning, put it into play. Start doing it. Be a little bit more proactive about it, all right? And I think you'll also find that very improving to your health and in your body as well. Now let's talk about Venus, which rules your 10th house of service. Okay, she's going into your, she's in your 10th up until the 13th. Okay, so really structuring the service, organizing, figuring out what you are providing. Okay, taking the time for the first half of the month to continue to organize and embrace and enjoy the process, because it is very enjoyable with Venus. Okay, enjoy the process of structuring your work, restructuring your service. Then on the 13th and onward, she will go into your 11th. So at that point, it will really be about giving your contribution, perhaps away for free or for a discount or to charity or those sorts of things. Okay. Being more group and holistic oriented, and having a concern for humanity and just being of service in general from the 13th onward. Okay? And through that you will be developing your career, contribution, etc. All right, let's talk about relationships. We'll talk about your 3rd house, communication and relationships, your 7th house about the relationships in general, and your 11th house, which has to do with your groups again. Okay? So with relationships, in regards to your communications, talk about Venus, who rules your 3rd. She's going to be in your 10th, like I mentioned. Okay, so for the first half, and I think you've noticed this in June, organizing what you say, organizing what you write. Perhaps a lot of you have been taking the time out to do some writing, perhaps sharing a lot. Or sort of restructuring how you say things, thinking about how you say things, okay, bringing that conscious awareness to it and organizing it and enjoying that, okay. And then on the 13th onward, all of this organizing that you're doing with your communication will then have a you'll have much more to offer. A lot of this, I see a lot of this humanitarian collective sort of energy, okay? And for the second half, it'll be about sharing that, communicating that. Your communications will be about these collective and group-oriented concerns and things that are going on in your life. It's communication that you're communicating about. So do this with your relationships, all right? Bring people into your life, because this is all related to your work as well. Bring people into your life. Share what's important to you in a global perspective, okay, or whatever, or just your ambitions, your what you know, your the 11th house has to do with your ideals, okay, just your ideals in general. Share that, communicate that, and that'll really strengthen your relationships, particularly the second half of the month. All right, now let's talk about your relationships in general. You had Saturn transiting your 7th, okay? And he's been retrograde. So there's been this reflection on what you have to offer in your relationships, what you have to receive through relationships, also your communication in relationships, okay? And then on the 20th, when Saturn goes direct, taking what you've learned in regards to all of this, sharing and putting it into that action and continuing to organize, watch what you say, realize that what you say has tremendous power, okay, and can help, all right, and can really strengthen your relationships, all right, and take the time to organize, set plans, set goals, you know, have a schedule, those sorts of things. All of this is going to help improve your relationships in one form or another. All right, now let's talk about those humanitarian things and also groups too, for those of you who are involved in groups. I mean, we all are. We're talking online too, any social media or classes that you take, or even at your work. Mercury rules that 11th house, and he's in your he's in your 11th, going direct on the 1st this month, okay? So last month, I think, was reflecting again a lot of that humanitarian stuff, all right? And then this month will be certainly about putting it into action, getting more involved into groups, the classes that you're taking, whatever, the online groups that you're involved with, all right? And really then expressing yourself more. So this month, will, you know, a big highlight will certainly be on that. Then on the 28th, the spiritual segue. All right, and then that's towards the second half and end of this month. That's when things take on a much more spiritual nature, like I mentioned, and in this case, in regards to your groups. So that's becoming involved more spiritually with groups, sharing your inner self, and perhaps joining spiritual circles, or just sharing more of your true inner nature with people. Okay, so do keep that in mind from the 28th onward and into August. Now let's talk about that spirituality this month. We're going to talk about your 4th house, which has to do with your inner self and feelings, your 8th house, which has to do with transformation, and your 12th house, which has to do with your presence and universal love. Okay, so let's talk about your 4th. Mars rules that 4th, and he's in your 2nd. So enjoy your inner self. Continue to enjoy your inner self this month. Take action to bring more abundance, more feelings to you. Allow more feelings to come to you and enjoy that. Okay, and I think that's overall expanding your feelings. Okay, and that'll give you a sense of motivation too. So tap into those feelings, enjoy them. Find out the tremendous value that your feelings have in your life. Then on the 13th onward, Mars will go into your 3rd. Okay, and then share these feelings. So all this you're discovering about what you have inside, share it second half of the month. All right. And like I said, that's going to strengthen your relationships, but it's also going to strengthen your connection to your inner self as well, and your overall spirituality. All right? Now, let's talk about your transformation this month. Jupiter rules your 8th house, and he's in your 12th. So recently, your whole transformation process has been going with the flow. So continue to do that. Continue to surrender your attachments, all your old patterns and all that. Just let it flow. Just give it back. And anything that comes back to you will be meant to be. So let go. In fact, just let go of all of your values, especially anything that you feel like you might be too attached to. And then whatever comes back to you is meant to be. Okay? And through that, you're getting rid of all the stuff that's not working for you and making way for the new to come into your life. Now, let's talk about that 12th house in particular. The moon rules your 12th house, and we have a full moon in your 5th on the 12th this month, okay? So for the first half, express your spirituality. I think all of this exchanging that you're doing with all this humanitarian community stuff that you're involved with, expressing how that is going to enliven people, because at the end of the day, it's really about helping people become more in tune with what they're about spiritually. Okay, so express your spiritual nature and share yourself with the world. Share this new spiritual you with the world, because there's always a new you in transformation. Okay, and particularly for you, you're constantly in the state of renewal with this spiritual self of yours. So share it. Then on the 26th, you'll have a new moon on the 12th. So again, like I said, the second half is certainly about spirituality and into August. Okay, so in this sense, around the 26th, that's of all the other signs that have this new moon taking place for you, it's your 12th house ruler in your 12th. So there is nothing more spiritual than this. Around the 26th, the more you can tap into your inner self, your spirituality, embody your heart, align your chakras, meditate, but not necessarily, it doesn't have to be anything spiritual per se. Whatever helps you connect to your inner self, perhaps cooking or whatever, do it, particularly around the 26th. And that's going to allow you to come to a lot of clarity and peace in your life, which will then further your involvement into what you do when these planets start going into your first house. Okay? So Leo, that concludes this July horoscope. If you'd like a personal, in-depth reading, please get in touch. Right now I'm offering my readings for only $45. I'll put a link down below if you're interested. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right, Leo, have a good month.